Hi, so I've been getting a lot of questions pertaining to drawing characters consistent. A lot of you come up with your own character design ideas, and then you want to draw a comic, and in drawing a comic, you want your characters to look the same over and over and over. I'm going to talk about that today. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 20 years. One of the things that I recommend, and here's I'm zooming in here. I've got characters that I've created myself. I drew these characters and this character, and it's an original character, and I wanted to make sure that I drew him consistently all the time. Now, on The Simpsons where I work, we have model sheets. And this is kind of the way that the model sheets are. We have a turnaround, especially for the main characters. So I decided to do a turnaround for my characters as well. And that way I could always check to see if my characters are consistent, if they are looking correct every time I draw them. So this is what I did. It is a very, very tedious process to do something like this. But it's worth it because in the long run you have an idea as to what your character looks like in all positions. Okay, so this is generally my main pose here. So one of the things that you ought to keep aware of and make sure that when you're working off of a character from scratch, when you're trying to draw your character consistent is, well, I recommend two things. One, once you've got the character the way you want him to look, make sure you start measuring spaces. For example, I've got this line here, there's a blue line here, there's a blue line here. And then you basically break down your character into parts. So you're trying to see where his head is compared to the top of the head, and you're looking at how much space is between there and between here, and then you're like seeing where's the chin. It's about right here. And so you start breaking down these things, and then you start measuring, you know, where's the eyes, where do they fit? So let's see. So look, notice how I'm doing this. I'm measuring. So it's about here. So like from the top of the head to the bottom. So it's a little bit further down. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm measuring these parts. Like what's the size? What's the space between this and these eyes? How far apart are they? So that's one way of figuring it out. Like where's the nose? How much space is between this and that? So that way when you go in and you're going to try to draw your character and you're just roughing out, and you don't have to be perfect, you just kind of have to, I don't know, it's about here, maybe here. So you really don't have to be perfect. See, one of the problems that a lot of people have is they think that once they have their character down, every single time they have to draw them absolutely perfect in the first pass. And that is absolutely not true. You don't have to do that at all. You could let me give them a different expression. First, what you want to do is you just want to figure out the expressions and all that stuff that you want to give the character before you even put him on model or make him look consistent. You just want to get him in the general gist. See, you could kind of tell that this is what I'm drawing. I know that this here is a shape like this, so and this here, and that's near his mouth, his mouth here. So okay, so let's say that I've got this down. This is the gist of what I want to draw. Okay, so now let me try to get him on model. So that's when I start doing that thing where I've got these things going on. So the eyes are probably a little further down. Okay. Because that's what I said right here. So this nose here doesn't quite hit that line. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect because it just has to sort of look like the character. Not even at Disney, not even at The Simpsons do we draw the characters exactly the same every time. There is a certain amount of give. There's a certain amount of malleability that every character has that you can still make a character look like the character, a character. There is a certain amount of give that each character has that it'll still look like the character. So it doesn't have to be perfect. And to be honest, not too many people care that much. You think that you are being horrible because it doesn't look exactly like what you want it to, but nobody notices. Nobody is paying attention except you. It's your lack of confidence. There, see? So now the character looks a lot more like the character. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find guidelines, things that shapes, spaces in the character that would give me a guide. One of the things that I do want to say is that if you want to practice drawing characters consistently, a good way to and I think it's kind of critical. It's very crucial, in fact. An exercise you can do is copy a lot. Copy your favorite artist, copy characters, try to copy. And the reason why you want to copy is because it builds your observation skills. So that's a really great way of building that skill set. And let's see. Something about the head. Here's the head. Here's the top of the... So let me see if... I think that's about right. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Okay, so just pure measuring and using your trying to create spaces and all that stuff. Like just breaking down a character's body parts. Try to create, and like there is no fast rule, try to create guidelines for yourself. What can you measure against something else in order to find out what the size relationships ought to be of certain things? Like this chin obviously can't be, I mean, like if I open the character's mouth, he's got his enormous chin. I had to shrink his chin so that I could actually create this expression. So remember, your characters are malleable. They're going to change whenever their expressions change. They're going to look different. Okay. All right. So here's another tip that you can do And this is one of the reasons why I printed out this sheet. Another thing you can do is, this is much easier. This is what I usually do at work. Is, again, let me create, let's say that the character, I'm going to have him looking a little tough. So I draw the expression. What do I want him to look, to feel like? So he's really, you know, he's gonna look mean. And I'm just scribbling here. So yeah, you know, it doesn't have to look pretty. Okay, so let's say that this is what he's gonna look like. He's gonna be looking mean, you know. Okay, so guess what? I have the model sheet right here, and I have crappy paper, so it's kind of transparent, and I can see the character. And if I want him to look, I drew his head a little bit too big. So usually what I do is I scribble my thing, and then I blow up the model sheet. I blow up this model sheet to fit the size of my rough. But in this case, I just scribbled something really fast, so my rough is a little bit bigger than my model sheet, so I'll just make the adjustments as I go. But you can see very quickly where I need to probably put the eyes. And I'm flipping to just check my model. It's kind of a animation thing. It's flipping. This is the Japanese way of flipping. Usually we flip this way. I just moved my paper too much. So this is what I tend to do a lot more, especially with digital drawing. It's much easier. You could have the thing underneath and with a slight opacity. I usually use a light box. I don't have one where I'm recording this, so I'm doing it the old school way. If you don't have a light box yourself, you flip. The only thing is that you have to make sure that you don't flatten out your drawing. If, let's say that I wanted to draw the character from looking down, like we're looking down at the character. When you do put the model sheet on a character, and it's too small, and this is too big. But when you do put the model sheet underneath, what you don't want to do is to end up flattening it out. You want to keep the perspective that you were originally trying to put in. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to end up flattening out your drawing because you're using the model sheet on top. You want to try to keep the depth if you're doing something like that. So you just keep that in mind. Use it as a guide. Use it as a guide for the proportions. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're still assuming that somehow people are judging your character relations, and that there isn't any give at all whatsoever, and that is absolutely not true. If you look at The Simpsons, It's drawn by multiple people, and there's constant inconsistencies. If you look at something like Beauty and the Beast, if you watch Beauty and the Beast, you could actually see the way that every animator is changing the model sheet. Every character, every artist has their own way that they draw Belle and they draw the Beast. Some drawings are better than others. So, but it still looks like Belle. It still looks like the Beast. Because there is a certain amount of give that a character gives you that you can move away from. So, okay, so thanks a lot. I hope that is very helpful. If you like this video and you want to ask me more questions, you could comment below and ask me the questions there. If you want, you could also support me on Patreon, and it keeps these videos coming. If you found value in this video, it would be very helpful, and I'll be very grateful if you provide value in return by supporting me and becoming a patron on my Patreon website. All right, and so that way I could provide even more value, and then it's a continuous feed of value. Thanks a lot, and then I'll see you next time. All right, bye.